Welcome back. I'm Tom Hewitt, and this is News 13's Eye on the Election. I'm here with Karl Kassel, who's running for Borough Assembly. And Karl, you've served on the Assembly now for a full term, and you're running for re-election. For those who don't know you as well, tell us a little bit about your background and how you came to be on the Assembly, and what have you learned in your time there?
Well, my background is almost 40 years in Fairbanks, working with a variety of different community organizations, and I worked a variety of different jobs. And I've always been active in the community, trying to give back a little bit and make Fairbanks a little more fun and pleasant place to live. I just been interested in politics, mostly from trying to make the community a little bit better place, and decided to run for the Assembly 3 years ago. Luckily got elected. I've been enjoying my time there. I think I'm kind of a moderate in the middle kind of a voice that looks at the merits of an issue and tries to make a decision not based on any particular political persuasion, but more based on the merits of the topic that we're talking about.
The Borough Assembly was instrumental in the creation of the interior natural gas utility, and it's currently seeking to become the regulated carrier outside of the Fairbanks city limits for gas when gas trucking eventually comes on board. And there are people who support Fairbanks Natural Gas, as well as Fairbanks Natural Gas itself, who are competing with the utility and say that the utility's bid to become a carrier might slow down the eventual delivery of gas to local residents. Do you support the work that the utility is doing, and I guess do you think that it can basically deliver on being the carrier if it's selected by the Regulatory Commission?
Well, first, I absolutely don't believe that it's slowing the process down. As a matter of fact, I think it's doing the exact opposite. When the interior gas utility was formed and the whole process of trucking gas and getting things moving and getting the local government more involved in it has motivated a lot of the players. So things are moving along much more quickly than I think they would have been otherwise. I don't care one way or another, really, as far as who's providing gas to our community. I like to support the private sector, but we've been waiting for gas for a long time, and the private sector hasn't come through with that. The people in our community are suffering from incredibly high cost of energy. We need to lower that cost of energy significantly, and we need to do it as soon as possible. I think that the gas utility has some advantages in that. I think that the Fairbanks Natural Gas has different qualifications, maybe. I think either is capable of doing the job, and I like to see some healthy competition. I think that moves things along more quickly, which is what the community really needs.
Excellent. Energy costs, as we've just been discussing, are widely acknowledged as the most important issue currently facing Fairbanks and the interior. What do you think is the next most important, and how would you like to see the borough tackle it?
Well, I think we have a similar problem in Fairbanks to nationwide that I don't particularly care for, and it's a general polarization of the people in the community. I don't think that helps. I think we need to pull together and work together. We get an awful lot more accomplished when we work together than when we're fighting with each other. I've never been one to take an extreme position one way or another on something. I try to look for common ground, look for win-win situations where both sides of an equation can benefit from the solution. And I think too frequently of late we've been seeing people take extreme positions and not willing to talk or negotiate or discuss topics even. That bothers me. I think we need to work more towards just working things through, looking at the merits of a topic and making decisions based on what's best for our entire community.
All right. Borough revenues are more or less stable based on the fact that they come from property taxes, and property valuations don't fluctuate too much one way or another year over year. But if some catastrophic event were to happen, like say the planned move of Eielson's F-16 Aggressor Squadron, it could cause a pretty sizable hit to that property tax base. And how would you, I guess, propose that the borough best absorb that hit and move forward if something like that were to happen?
Well, I don't know there's any one specific answer to that question. we have to size government appropriately for the community. Look at the needs of the community. The needs of the community would shrink if Eielson was to change dramatically. And so as the needs change, you would be able to eliminate some services that would no longer be required. The bus line to Salcha potentially, as one off the top of my head comparison here maybe. But we have to look at the tax base, what the community is asking for, what they need, what legitimate ability they have to pay for services, and try to find a balance in that equation. I think right now we're managing that fairly well. I am frequently confronted by people asking for more services and asking for the borough to do more. I'm also frequently confronted by people who are saying, you know, the taxes are, you know, a little higher than what I like to pay. No one likes to pay taxes. I'm in that boat too. So I think we need to find the balance there, and I think we're real close to that balance as we are now.
All right. And what do you think would be the biggest difference between, say, the way that your opponent would act and what he would accomplish on the assembly if he were elected as compared to if you won re-election?
Well, I've been around a number of more years than he has, number one, and so I've done a lot of different things in the community and have a much broader background. I have more experience on the assembly. I worked for the borough for 20 years. I know the budget. He's at a pretty steep learning curve. I think that politically, philosophically, we're fairly similar actually, but I think I can be much more effective than he can be based on the experience that I've had and the work that I've already accomplished, and would like to continue doing that.
All right. Well, I think that's about all the time we have, Karl, but thank you for coming in.
Thank you, Tom.
And for the rest of you, don't go away just yet. We've got Jamie Schwartzwald coming up next with sports.